Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 3 of coverage for the Lost Woods Draft League. I'm Keon, coach of the Massachusetts Mareeps, and here we are coming off of two very strong matches. Up week 3 against Currypuff and the Cycling Cyclizars. This is a match that I'm really looking forward to. It's a team that, admittedly, before looking into it, I was kind of writing off, but there are a ton of threatening tools on this team, and I just hope that I've found the tech to crack it. Just as a quick disclaimer, I'm recording this before our match is played, but due to time constraints and everything, Curry and I have decided to play our match on stream after a grassroots local. So I will be kind of reviewing the footage of the VOD of that. I won't have like live stream footage to go off of, but I'll just do a little bit of commentary of my thought process and just a VOD of the match after the fact. All right, without further ado, let's take a look at this team. Right off the bat, a very good distinct firewater grass core in Palafin, Paldean Tauros, Fire Paldean Tauros, and Sceptile. A lot of things going on here, a lot of pivoting between Intimidate and Zero to Hero, Unburden stuff, with maybe you could use like a Mirror Herb. There's Mousehold and Comfey, two really good supports, as well as a Lowland Persian, which is kind of the toughest thing for my team to deal with. There's a Galarian Slowking and Greedent for a bit more of like a Trick Room mode, Satitan as Belly Drum Sweeper, Garchomp as just a very tough, undeniable pseudo-legendary, and Misdreavus, which, I mean, it gets that Trick Room. It's just chill in there. I'm not too threatened by it, but it's definitely a good pick. So, looking into this, you can definitely recognize that this team leans a lot more towards the physical side of things, and that's something I'm going to want to try and exploit, because the only real special attackers here are Sceptile, Galarian Slowking, and Comfey. Misdreavus, sure, but like it's not going to do damage. Alright. Looking at what I have come up for this, here is my team. It's a little bit similar to last week, at least in terms of Mons. But yeah, I'll just go down the line. First off is Grimmsnarl, rocking the Mental Herb. Prankster ability as always, with the Terra type of Steel. Yeah, I just have like, it's kind of just bulk dumped again. Nothing too crazy. But this will be the debut of Grimmsnarl running Fake Out, as I realized it would be really helpful to some early to mid game strategies I want to get off. So it'll be running Fake Out, Spirit Break, Taunt, and Reflect. Mental Herb is really good for running into the Persian and Mousehold, one of which, or both, I anticipate to have Taunt. So it'll be good to at least shake that off for a turn while I set up a screen, and maybe taunt something else on the other side. Porygon 2 with the Eviolite, as always. I've talked about this a couple times, but it can just be run like this. I don't have to get too cute with it. Running Quiet Nature, 0 speed, going Recover, Trick Room, Terra Blast, Ice Beam with Terra Ghost. Terra Ghost is primarily just to avoid fake outs and fighting type moves from the Tauros and the Alolan Persian. This is just kind of going to be the speed control that I lean on in this matchup. A lot of Curry's Mons are really fast with like a base speed stat of 100, which my team frankly can't even compete with. So my win condition here is getting into a board state where I can have Trick Room up. Empoleon with the Covert Cloak, competitive as always with the Terra type of Flying. Flying is really good here because it helps me into the Garchomp and the Paldean Tauros, and competitive proccing off of the Intimidate will be really helpful with offsetting that Mon. I'm running it pretty bulky, a lot of investment in special attack, enough speed to underspeed everything in Trick Room, but also outspeed paralyzed Pokemon up to the Garchomp. Running Water Pledge, Ice Beam, Protect, and Flash Cannon just as basic coverage. Flash Cannon helps cover me against Thick Fat Satitan. Ice Beam helps against Garchomp and Sceptile. And it's just general good coverage all around the board. Superior rocking the Choice Scarf with the ability Contrary. As usual, the Choice Scarf allowed for me to dump a lot more into bulk while still being able to be fast, because to be honest, I'm not really clicking anything outside of Leaf Storm anyways. Terra Water's good to face off against the Titan and the Paldean Tauros. With, Leaf Storm, Glare, those are really the only two I think I'll be clicking. Dragon Pulse, just in case I need last minute damage into a Terra Dragon or Garchomp for that matter, and then Terra Water Blast for the same reason, if I just need to get Paldean Tauros off the field. Hisuian Arcanine finally rocking that all-out offense choice band, my Reg F and E favorite, with Intimidate, back to Intimidate for this week. This EV spread is just kind of focused on doing damage, and I got a little extra point to put into bulk because the last point of speed wasn't relevant. At the speed stat that I'm at, I will be outspeeding Adamant Garchomp and Adamant Palafin, which frankly I don't really need Hisuian Arcanine for this matchup, but as a last minute out of Trick Room or just a Mon that I need to pick up a KO, having it be able to be faster than just about all of the team is going to make the difference in this matchup. Rocking Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, Extreme Speed, and Terra Water Blast. If you guys can't tell, I'm a little bit scared of this Tauros. But these four moves are just going to be quintessential coverage going into this matchup. It wasn't too intuitive behind that process. I mean, it's kind of just Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, E-Speed for Hark, and then either a Terra Blast if I need it or Head Smash, but Head Smash didn't prove to be as valuable in testing. The last Pokemon I'm hoping can redeem itself is the Hippowdon, rocking Clear Amulet with Sandstream and a Terra type of Water. Water will help me a lot into the Ice types. It'll help me into basically everything except for Sceptile, but honestly I don't expect to be clicking that Terra anyways. I'm running it with Protect, Yawn, Curse, and High Horsepower. Through testing, I was really kind of seesawing back and forth between if I wanted to go with High Horsepower or Body Press as the sole offensive move and then go with Slack Off, but I realized that Curse would be really good because I still can up my attack and defense and just be really tanky in the face of this physical leaning team, but Curse helps me also get more offensive pressure, and I wouldn't want that to go wasted. And after weighing the options, I figured that High Horsepower was much more consistent coverage than Body Press, especially coming off of Stab. Yawn's also there to just kind of pressure redirection, switches, late games, anything of the sort. There wasn't really another necessary move at that point. So yeah, these are the 6. I'm really excited, especially to see just like Scarf Superior go off. I'm really hoping that I can pull off the Trick Room mode in this matchup. This matchup's kind of laying on Porygon 2 and being able to clear that Paldean Tauros so that Superior can just go crazy in the end game. I'm really looking forward to this matchup. This draft league, like throughout it, the experience has just been really cool to see teams that you wouldn't really think are that strong, but suddenly they have all sorts of tools that you wouldn't have even thought about just at a first glance. These 6, these feel like my strongest Mons. Maybe like a couple of these can be switched out, but I didn't get too creative this week, but I think it's gonna pay off. I think between just the good stuffs and the Terras, hopefully I'll pull something off tonight. But thank you guys for listening, and I will see you for the coverage of my match. Hello again, everybody. Here's the VOD footage that I recovered from the stream match that occurred after Leafs Local last night. It has the whole set between myself and Curry, and so let's just run it. Instantly at Team Preview, I noticed that there was no Alolan Persian or Mousehold here, and without those support options, I thought it was going to be like pretty easy to get Trick Room up. So I went with the lead that would do that best. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit because I was really deliberating like the whole time. But I ended up locking in Porygon 2, Grimmsnarl, Empoleon, and Serperior. Porygon 2 and Grimmsnarl were generally just undeniable Trick Room on turn 1, at least with like the non-anticipated fake out from Grimmsnarl. Empoleon in the back helps me go for just like slow Trick Room damage, because nothing on the team really would underspeed it other than the Misdreavus. And then Serperior was just there to clean up after Trick Room. But anyways, I just go for Fake Out into Palafin, because I anticipate if anything's going to have Taunt on the field, it's going to be that. And then I go for Trick Room. Sceptile sets up Shed Tail and comes out into Garchomp. I wasn't really sure what the vision was here, but it's more clear in Game 2. But anyways, now that is a Garchomp behind a Substitute. And now that we have the team sheets and everything, I didn't know this at the moment, but Palafin was Choice Band and Garchomp was Bright Powder. Everything else relevant will show up in the next game. But anyways, now Trick Room's up, and I have pretty safe and consistent damage into these Mons. Palafin doesn't really want to stay on the field because it's in its baby form, it's choice locked. Obviously, I don't know that, but yeah, it's not going to stay. So now I figure out just what I want to do to play around what's in front of me. I end up going for Terra Blast into Garchomp to try and just break the Substitute and then Reflect, because the two Mons on the field in front of me right now are physical, and I'm not really worried about Sceptile's damage output given what I've seen from it. It seems more supportive. And then Tauros, the fourth Mon, gives me a good bit of trouble because of the fighting coverage and because Raging Bull goes through and breaks the screens, which was kind of like, Reflect was really important in this matchup. Garchomp goes for Swords Dance, which makes this a lot scarier, and I kind of tunnel in on it. I wasn't really playing perfectly here. My brain was kind of fried because I was just coming out of a local where I went 4-0, so I kind of used all of my brain power. But anyways, I decide to tunnel down the Garchomp. It goes for Terra Ground, which it's a good thing it wasn't like a defensive Terra or anything. But I learned a little bit more about the speed tiers here. Garchomp takes about half. I just do a little bit of chip onto the Tauros. And then Garchomp, which is slower than the Tauros, goes for Stomping Tantrum. And at +2 with Reflect, does about half. And then Raging Bull takes out the Reflect. This tells me, like, I knew that another Raging Bull, given the damage output, would not take out Porygon 2 because it factors the screens being gone in its damage. So I knew I could live another turn and kind of just double into the Garchomp. And even though it protected, I still had myself in a pretty good position here, because unless he went for like close combat, I was going to be perfectly fine. Anyways, yeah, Raging Bull comes out, and I kind of like think, do I want to click Recover? Do I want to click Ice Beam, Terra Blast? Like, what do I want to do? I kind of realized that the best course of action is to continue to threaten the Garchomp slot. Thankfully, Bright Powder didn't proc, because if it did, like, I so would have lost this instantly. But yeah, I just kind of double in again because he can't just get a double protect off. I mean, he could, but it was more in my favor to do this. And then, yeah, just a little bit more consistent chip into the Tauros. I expect Porygon 2 to go down this turn, but I have an Empoleon in the back to take care of it. And he reveals Trailblaze, which is really interesting. Trick Room ends up ending this turn, which is pretty bad for me, but this is the perfect chance for Empoleon to come in, especially against Palafin and Tauros. I have a really good Terra for this matchup. Going with the last minute choice of Terra Flying, I ended up resisting any fighting type move, which made it really good into this Tauros, especially in closed team sheet. So I just go for setting up Reflect and kind of making it my priority to knock out this Tauros so that Serperior can go wild. So Reflect goes up, and I end up tanking not only the close combat, which lowers the defenses, and with AV I probably needed that, and the Drain Punch from Palafin. So resisting both of those plus Reflect being up was really valuable right there. And Empoleon takes its first KO. And now I kind of gathered that Palafin was banded, so I knew like it's not too useful right now. Subtile goes for Endeavor, which further proves to me like it's more of a supportive set, and I can get a little bit more comfortable having something like the Hippowdon around it for game 2 as an adaptation. And then I end up just chipping down the Palafin, kind of playing it slow here because I'm comfortable with Curry taking a KO, knowing that the Superior in the back is going to be faster. While I could play the information game, I didn't really have another choice here. It was going to be a slow burn either way. So Grimmsnarl goes down to a Drain Punch. And I started clicking Flash Cannon because at least I had a chance to drop Spadef, and since it was doing the same as Water Pledge, I didn't really have anything else I needed to do. Now I'm just sitting here like writing down everything I remember from game 1 because I did have a notebook in front of me. And then I just go for the Leaf Storm, it connects, and that's game 1. A pretty solid game plan, I would say. This was kind of what I wanted to do game 1 without like seeing like Tauntmon. And now that I know that Trick Room's a pretty good consistent strategy here, I can kind of see how Curry's going to adapt to it, whether it's like a Misdreavus with Trick Room to reverse it itself, or just some other sort of lead. So I try to get a little bit creative. I want to give other Mons on this team like a bit of a chance to shine in this matchup. And as you see, I deliberate again for like the full minute and a half. I go back and forth and back and forth. What I end up settling on, however, I'm going to speed up a little bit. Yeah, I go for Hippowdon, Superior, Empoleon, and Porygon 2. Grimmsnarl was good for the screens, but it didn't feel that necessary in this matchup. And I was kind of expecting to see like somehow more special pressure, I guess. I just wanted to lean on Hippowdon as consistent chip and Superior because in testing these two work together pretty well in this matchup. And so I see the same lead from Curry. And I go for Protect just because there's a lot that's threatening me right here. And let's see what happens. I'm like, oh, I could switch in Empoleon, but I don't think I want to reveal it just so soon. And so I just end up protecting. I was really indecisive about that. And I go for Leaf Storm. Now, props to Curry. This was really cool. He goes for the side Jet Punch. Red card. Switches out Palafin and also activates Sceptile's Unburden. Switches in Misdreavus. And then just clicks Shed Tail. And then it goes before anything else because of Unburden. And then Palafin comes back in hero form, Choice Banded up, full health, behind us up. I was so scared when I saw this. I was just like, ugh. And then I end up missing my first Leaf Storm, which honestly is just reparation for last week. So I can't be too upset at it. Anyways, yeah, at this point, I just think Terra Water on Hippowdon gives me a little bit more longevity. And I don't really need to, like, based off of what I've seen, if Palafin's like the primary attacker out of the 3 Mons that I've seen, I can be comfortable enough clicking Terra Water in this matchup, especially if I can infer that they're just going to be like choice locked into a resisted hit. Leaf Storm finally connects, so I get to the +2, and Wave Crash goes right into the Hippowdon. A little bit of chip damage, and then Misdreavus sets up Rain, which is really cool. I was expecting Manual Weather this week, but I expected it more on the mouse hold. It didn't even register to me that Misdreavus would have access to Rain Dance, but I really like that. And so I just I'm still comfortable to go on the offensive this whole time. Except I miss again. Pain Split comes out, it's a little bit annoying, but I just get a Curse off so that I have a bit extra bulk. Knowing that I'm Scarfed and can outspeed the Sceptile because Unburden doesn't still stay active, I end up going for to just KO Sceptile, and this is where my brain being fried comes in, because I clicked high horsepower into a Misdreavus when I quite literally acknowledged in my prep that my Hippowdon would get walled by Misdreavus. But realistically, the only other move I could have done was maybe like Yawn. Another Curse could have been nice, but it wasn't too necessary. But that was my only real blunder, I want to say, of this set. Which, you know, learning experience. Hopefully I won't have to see a Misdreavus again. Looks too much like Fluttermane. I'm going to chalk it up to that. Anyways. Yeah, I kind of realized that there's probably going to be a double in. Oh, just kidding, I don't. That's next turn. But yeah, it goes for the Terra Water Palafin. The Terra Water Choice Band in Rain is just going to be a threat no matter what. And so the Choice Lock Jet Punch just one-shots my Superior, which honestly is to be expected. It was bulky, but like, you know, that's damage no matter what. And so I go for high horsepower. It does really good chip. And I'm kind of just thinking about like what I want to bring in here now, because like given my information, I can kind of assume that he's locked into Jet Punch. So Empoleon feels much better here, whereas I can definitely bring out Porygon 2 during the endgame. Oh, that's an ad. Sorry, a random ad just showed up. Anyways, yeah, so at this point, I kind of realized that they're probably going to tunnel the Hippowdon this turn just to get it off, so I go for Protect, knowing that the Empoleon can't really be threatened right now. And then I just go for damage into the Misdreavus, just to see how much Water Pledge and Rain will do. And I realize how bulky that thing is. And I see where they got Flutter from. And I know that like outside of Rain and at a +1 defense, I can kind of offset this Choice Band Jet Punch and be able to live it. Yeah, it ends up only doing around 40. And right here, Curry messes up a little bit, goes for Pain Split instead of Nightshade into the Hippowdon. I think that would have made things much easier for him, but I also would have been able to knock out the Misdreavus there. He kind of realizes that his Mons in the back can't really deal with Empoleon, so he has to deal with it as soon as possible. This is the first time we see Titan in the matchup, and I realize I can kind of just safely tunnel it because Misdreavus doesn't really threaten anything here. Again, they can go for Nightshade, but yeah, this is interesting. So Titan ends up using Curse. I thought it was going to be Belly Drum or something, but apparently not. Misdreavus goes for Pain Split again just to heal up a little bit. And since the defensive stats of Titan aren't that good, I can pretty cleanly pick it up with a double. And now it's just Misdreavus versus the world. Hippowdon finally goes down here, which honestly wasn't too necessary considering I was walled by it. But this just sets up a 2v1 between Empoleon and Porygon 2 and the Misdreavus. I get the special attack boost from download, which is very nice. And then I just kind of double in until it's over. Pain Split is a little bit annoying. Kind of lengthens things by a little bit. So much so to the point that Empoleon can't even pick it up. And it comes to the Porygon 2. And so that was the set. My first 2-0 of the season. Definitely feels very good. Shoutouts to Currypuff for such an amazing match. He kind of had me on the edge of my seat, and just about like half of the draft league was around watching us live, like right behind me and right behind him. So I think under the pressure, we delivered on a really cool set. And yeah, next week, week 4, we head into a match with my lovely friend Charlotte and their Cosmic Clefairies. I haven't given that matchup thought at all. I'm going to be away for the weekend, but that doesn't mean I won't be on Discord frantically figuring out what I'm going to do. So anyways, that's it for me for this week, week 3, heading in with a 2-win, 1-loss record and 6 points now. Hopefully that's putting us a little bit closer to the top after week 1. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Take care.